Great afternoon. Oh my goodness. I was fighting with the camera, putting an upload, but I think it's working okay. Anyway, I wanted to do another part 2 on reading your decks, your tarot cards. Part of it I was talking about, looking at the story. Put yourself in the story. If you are the character there, how does that feel to you? Surround yourself with the things in the images, like we have this one. If you were this woman, how does that feel? Okay? Look at everything that they have there. What's going on? Surrounded by their wealth. Yeah, it looks like, they have some bottles there. So this is a different feeling than some other tarot decks. Each deck is going to have its own feeling, like this 7 of Cups here. She's kind of ungrounded, a bit of fantasy, off the ground, holding on to butterflies. You could see this is somebody that's into more fantasy type things, okay? Versus you have a 7 of Cups in the Rider-Waite, and you just see cups up in the air with all different subjects in them, okay? So this one as well. Now this is the 7. Yeah, the 7 of Swords. Now, in the Rider-Waite, you see the guy holding the swords, and he's sneaking away, looking over his shoulder, and taking off. And they say that can be the card of the thief. Could also be taking what you can take away from a situation and being cautious, okay? You could also have that interpretation because you feel him carrying this as much as he can take at a time, looking back, what's coming, I've got this, and doing his journey. Now, in this one, we see somebody that's what? Put yourself in her energy. She's looking sideways. We have a very happy couple there. I doubt she is feeling too happy. It's like she's a little smug, okay? Trying to get away with things. Just look at me. She's kind of showing a little skin here, there, trying to be maybe a little coquettish, okay? So again, a different energy. What do you feel when you see this card? If you put yourself in this place, okay, how does that feel to you? So that's the other thing I wanted to say with it. Put yourself in the card, in the situation, as the different players. Okay? Here we have what? This is probably the 2. This is the Lovers card. This would be the Lovers. Okay? They're doing hand fasting. It's a marriage, a commitment, okay? We've got the doves above it. They're there. We've got the beautiful, this is nature, engaged with nature. I like the way her dress turns into the field, okay? So what does that tell you? Her dress becomes the field. That's also something that you could engage in this card. So somebody that's in touch with Mother Nature, with the fullness of it, making a union with somebody else, okay? So again, a different feel than you have with the Lovers in another deck. So just spend time with your cards. How does this feel? If you are this magician, What are you getting out of this? This magician, he's looking upwards. His attention is in upward things. The eternality, he's looking at the eternal things. Coming from where? Where is this starting at? From the center of his being, and he's looking at these eternal things and wanting to connect with it, okay? Using the tools at his disposal. Again, a different feeling than other magicians. I'm going to do one more here. Okay, we'll do the 6. Now, usually you have, in Rider-Waite, you have the woman and a boy sitting in the boat, and we have the guy ferrying them across. One side of the boat has got waves, the other side is smooth. And so they're wanting to get to calmer waters. They're wanting to move forward out of that situation. Don't forget, swords is always the mental realm. So they want to move forward to a better position. But you can see them in the boat. They're kind of sitting here, you know. It's not a confident thing. They're not confident. They're kind of sitting there and wanting to move this. It's not being done in a happy element. Now, is this one, this is also a 6. He's got his boat. He's ready to take off. He's determined, okay? We have the swords above, so you can see what it is. He's mentally determined to move and go somewhere else. So again, a difference of being ferried by somebody else. With this guy, you know, he sees, I want to go. He's got his things with him. Very determined look on his face. And he is doing it himself. He is doing the action himself to move this forward. So again, a vastly different feeling than you get from Rider-Waite. Every single one, you'll see the difference of feeling with them. Here's the 8 of Cups. Now, Rider-Waite, what? We have the guy leaving. He's got his staff. He's going up. It's the pitch black. It's the dark of night. And he's leaving, okay? Now, it doesn't say exactly. You put yourself in that position. Where is he going? Why is he going? What's going on with it? In this one, it's during the daytime. We can see that she is upset because the guy is walking away. Okay? This is an emotionally difficult thing, wanting to hold on to something that's walking away. Feeling of loss, feeling of maybe regret, loss, because what she was invested in is now leaving. And so she's got all these emotions going on in her world about what is coming next, okay? All she knows at this point is loss. She's engaged in that, probably the poor me saga. I'm losing something, okay? So again, take time with whatever deck it is that you have, because each one tells a story. Each card tells a story. Get a card, like in this one, this is the most different Devil card, okay? They're wrapped up in passion. What's happening? The flames are coming up. They're in passion. They're getting, we've got this vine growing around them. They're getting cut by the vine, but they're so engaged in the passion that they're not seeing they're getting torn up by it. Okay? So vastly different than you see the iconography in other decks of the Devil. So watch what the passions may be. If it's on a negative level, you could be cut. You could be losing what's around you because you're so stuck in the passions. Okay. I'm looking for the devil in this deck. Vastly different feeling. Here it is. Here's the devil in this deck. In this one, it's the passions, errant passions. In this one, it's what? What do you see with the devil in this card? Okay. You see the difference of feeling? This is being ruled by passions. This is being ruled by what? I love that. In the stomach, we have the thing, food, engaging, greed, okay? This is a feeling of greed, okay? Being ruled by the ego, the greed of the ego. And they're here, you know, they're not even chained up. The chains are laying by them. They are there free of their own free will, okay? Chained by what? Greed, whatever it is. So, again, each card is its own story. Put yourself in that card. What are you feeling? What are you getting out of it? What is the story of that? And each card has a different story. Okay, here in this deck, again, very different than the Rider-Waite. Rider-Waite, we have the four staves, okay, and we have the castle, and we have the people coming out of the castle. Some are celebrating, some are not. The castle's on the hill. In this what? We have a tree house, unbridled joy, okay, is what they're having with that. 4 is about stability, okay? 4, balance, stability, the 4 corners, the box shape, okay? So 4 of wands. In this deck, it's about that unbridled joy. So again, you know, you can't just say that this card means this or means that. Maybe with you, you have a whole different feeling based on that card and your life experiences than does someone else. And you have to go with the decks based on your life experience, because the deck, you are using the deck to activate your consciousness, the subconscious, relating to it so that you can tell the story that's coming through. So these are openings to your story, to your life, to your experiences, which is how you read your tarot. Now, my life experiences may be quite different than somebody else. We'll have the same deck, but the interpretation will be different. And this is why I don't usually read the books that come with it, because the decks were created based on that person's life story. Okay? But you have to read the cards based on your life story, your symbology, your understanding, and that is a point of communication. Okay? So on that note, I'm going to leave this here. And again, hopefully this helps you with your own information. It's the same thing with your Lenormand. Now, the way I feel about this conversation and this bird, which is basically your conversations, do you see the difference? Do you feel a difference in those? These are more lighthearted conversations. These are more to the dark mysteries, the things that happen behind the scenes, the things in the dark that most people are not familiar with as much. This is coming from the wisdom of looking deeper. This is more lighthearted conversation. So you can do the same thing with your Lenormand as you're doing with your tarot. Get involved with the picture, the feeling of it. So that's, again, another helpful hint. Now, if you're doing tarot or you're doing Lenormand, if you're doing a traditional spread, you have the past. If you have the past and you're picking the card and this is your past, okay, in the past, what does this say? In the past is maybe you've been offered something, or maybe you've been offering something from the heart. Okay, we see this, he's wearing a very soft energy, wearing the white, he's riding the white horse. Maybe one has been caught up in the past with the knight in shining armor coming, okay, if it's a love reading, okay? Or it's something that's offered, or maybe you are the one that was on the horse and putting something out there, offering, okay? We have the butterflies, they're hoping for transformation. The springtime, okay? So again, you take your story and you look at what it is. If it's a past, if it's a present, then maybe in the present, someone is going to come and give an offering of something to you, okay? If it's the subject of it, then it's the subject of something coming, okay? Emotional. If it's the challenge, then the challenge is this person's been offering this, but maybe it's not in the best way. Maybe you had fantasies about this that was coming, okay? And if it's a clarification, then you take the difficulty and the clarification, and you meld the two cards. So we pull another card and we say, okay, this is the clarification. The challenge was this was being offered, and maybe the clarification was, you know, that you wanted this happiness, this joy. Maybe you had visions of a household. Maybe you had visions of him coming and offering something. But the challenge was it wasn't being offered the way you wanted to. Maybe this, because we have this card and this is a childish, maybe there were a little bit unrealistic things about it, okay? We have the child wanting the playhouse, okay? They've got their playhouse, and we have this guy coming with an offering. But don't forget, this is the challenge position, the difficulty. The difficulty, if you see it as a challenge, it's that. If you see it as a difficulty, then you have somebody offering something, but the clarification is that it's maybe not exactly what was wanted, okay? Maybe there were some childish expectations. You have to see what the other cards are with it as well. So again, you take your whatever position it's in different readings have different things. I do some readings which are not based on, it just one card follows another and tells the story. Okay, I have a reading like that. And then we have the two cards that are melding and what's the center. And then those two break down. And you can see the line going for each thing. And now we'll go through that later, how I do that layout and reading. Okay? But it's the same thing with Lenormand. You have your things like this is usually a difficulty, a challenge. So this woman is going to face some difficulty, okay? There's a challenge coming in for her, difficulty. Okay, maybe you have this and you've had some discussions about it. Okay, maybe going with friends, whatever, is a bit of a light-hearted discussion. Now, if you have this one here, it has a vastly different feeling. Looking deeper, having deep discussions about the difficulties. So it's the same thing whether you're reading Lenormand or you're reading Tarot. Also, you can sometimes put them together and it creates a word. You may have 2 or 3 symbols that come together and create a feeling of a word. You can move it into a word type thing. So here we have let's see, we have key of the fox. The fox can be manipulative, somebody that's lying, that's creating this difficulty. So you could say this is a manipulator, okay? The key is, and he's looking at what? He's looking back at the key to make these difficulties, okay? So he's engaged in the key of continuing to make difficulties, okay? He's looking at the key of what he wants and manipulations, whatever it takes to get it there, he's willing to do that, put that in place. Now this deck, I like this deck because it has a couple of different snakes in it. One snake, he's shedding, he's losing that skin, okay, shedding. So maybe he's done with one thing and off to another, okay. So again, you feel the card deck, what you get out of it. So I'm going to leave this here, and I hope that these two have aided you in your own journey to reading Tarot or Lenormand or whatever, or Sabia. Same thing with Sabia. You have the stories, and these things connect. We'll say this is what we start: cheerfulness, joyfulness. Okay. And let's pull another card, an enemy. So this could be either things that this enemy loves to do these things, or again, you could be celebrating and doing these things and maybe not be aware of the enemy, okay? So you put them together and you make your story, okay? Maybe they're so happy this enemy's walking away. He's leaving that because he can't join in. He cannot join into the celebration. He's turned his back on it and he's walking away. Okay? He's walking away. Well, you'd have to see what the following card and see what he's walking towards. So what is he walking towards? Where is he going? The enemy is leaving to wait for something else, okay? Waiting. So the enemy is leaving, doesn't want to be around that celebratory things. They're off to wait for something else. And then you'd see the next card and see what they're waiting for. I don't want to engage in this frivolity, okay? He's off to other things. Create some difficulty with something else. So he's off, that enemy's walking away, he's waiting for, who knows what the next card is. It would be based on what the next card is. Maybe he's waiting to be a thief, looking for his opportunity. If that was it, if it came up, the card came up the thief, then watch when you're celebrating, that you may have the thief that's trying to look for that distraction, okay? So again, it's one card builds on the next card. One card builds on another to create the whole of the storyline as to what's taking place. And you base it on the situation. That's why it's important when you're reading for somebody that you have the background. as to what you're reading on, because the background creates another element to the story, how you read the cards. It's a vast difference if somebody's asking about love versus asking about a financial transaction that's happening. So the way that you see the cards is, again, looking from a different perspective. If you're going to read for somebody, you need to have the right perspective. You need to have the information as to what's going on so that you can look from that frame of mind what is happening and then put yourself in that storyline to give the best reading possible. So I think we've covered actually quite a bit today. A lot for you to sit with, contemplate, start working with your cards. Okay, take one card and just look at every element of the card. What does that say? How does that feel? Okay, is it emotional? Put yourself in the emotions. If it's mental, then what is the ideas behind it? If it's the wands, then what is the energy? What is the action that you're doing with that? Because the wands are action. Pentacles are what's in your physical world, what you have. Okay? Opportunities and what you have in your daily life. Swords is the ideology, your ideas about things. So you can have an idea, and then you have a cup. You have a sword and you can have a cup. So ideas about ideas about the emotion. Or you could have a cup and a wand. So the emotions about an action, or how an action affects the emotions. Okay? So again, these all are interplays of one another going forward. So yeah, it's a lot to take in at once. You have to look at emotions, you have to look at the mental state, you have to look at the physicality of what's taking place. Okay? And then go from there. But you're not going to get one thing and learn it immediately overnight. It takes spending time with it, and getting yourself involved with your deck, whatever deck you start out with. I think the Rider-Waite is a good deck to begin with. Okay? If you don't resonate with that, then pick a deck that you can resonate with the images. They give you something to feel. They give you something to grasp onto. And everyone is going to have their own ideology behind it. Okay? It's like when I'm working with Hoga Lee, we're doing our things on Saturday. He may be seeing things, Hogarth may be seeing things in my reading that I'm not picking up because it's got different symbology for him, and whereas likewise I may see something that keys in when he picks up a card. And it makes a different key and reference here. Or Lena may have something different, and she's seeing something different, you know. And so that's why it's nice to have the collaborations too, because one may be seeing something and another sees another, like I say, facet of the diamond. We want the whole. Each one sees a different facet of the same story. Okay, and trying to put them all together. So I know I was going to stop this a number of times, but, you know, stuff keeps coming in. Stuff keeps coming in to add to this. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know. Have you gotten something from it, or has this made it more confusing? Okay. Hopefully not more confusing. Hopefully this has given you enough that you can leave this, take your deck of cards, whichever it is, whether it's Lenormand, whether it's Sibilla, whether it is your Tarot, whichever deck you have, and that you can now start to relate to the card itself, the story that the card is telling, and then you look at the position where it's at in whatever spread you're using, whether it's past, future, whatever it is, they have the category. So you look at it in the framework of a past, a present, a future, a difficulty, okay? And you read it according to that. And then you add also the element of who you're reading for. What is it that they're asking? What is the question? Okay? So it's like the pieces of a puzzle. Each puzzle is different. And it has so many different elements that you want them all to get to fit. But don't be too hard on yourself, you know. It can take a while to get in sync with it, okay? So take it a step at a time and keep building. Thanks for tuning in and your question. I'll see you online.